That's what I'm gonna be talking about, transforming unease and unsettledness into ease and peace. What does that mean? Let me ask you a question. You ever sat down and you trying to do something, but you feel like out of ease? Like you feel like you're not quite settled. Like it feels like energy is being stirred up all inside of you. Some people call that anxiety, but that's just really an unbalance of your energies, labeled as anxiety, right? So when we are out of ease, when we're unsettled, we experience that at a molecular level, just like we do at a mental level. And we feel the stirring up in our bodies, and sometimes it gives us a tendency to say, let me get something outside of me, right? Let me get a coffee, let me watch a show, let me distract myself with something so I can escape the unease and unsettledness. But did you know embracing it would help you as well? Did you know that finding a time to get present will help you? That's what I'm going to be talking about. All right, so transforming unease and unsettledness into ease and peace. What do I mean by that? Have you ever sat down and you all of a sudden you thought to yourself, something is out of balance right now? Or maybe not that, you just feel like you can't sit still. It's like you feel like a big kid inside. Your energy feel like a big kid inside. Your energy is like, woo, 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 woo. What are we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? That's like a lot of anxiety, right? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That's what your energy is saying. That's an unsettled energy. Sometimes it can feel like bees or butterflies or bats, right? I say bees of anxiety, bats of frightening, of fear, and butterflies of excitement. Go ahead, ask any question you want. Bees of anxiety, bats of fear, and butterflies of excitement. We feel that in our bellies, right? We feel that in our gut. That's what I'm talking about unsettled energy. I'm talking about the energy that resides in your gut. The energy that resides in your gut tells you how you feel, right? And I'm gonna explain to you how, somebody says I'm gonna explain to you how to get from that anxiety, right? How to get back in the present moment. A secret that I've learned that really works. Okay, so let's keep talking about this. All right, boom. You're like, okay, I do feel out of ease. I feel unsettled. What do I do? One of the major lessons I learned is you can't wire water to being smooth. You just gotta let the water be. So the same thing that applies to the water applies to you. You can't hot iron yourself to feeling better. You can't think yourself out of a problem. You can't think yourself out of anxiety. You can't conceptualize and think about it out of it. It just doesn't work. So stop trying to think your way out of the stress or anxiety. Let's start investing in a present activity. So this is the secret. The secret is, let me tell you the secret before you even go on. The secret is be present. Now the how-to is what I'm going to be talking about this whole time. So let's get it started. So I said unsettled and unease. How does that show up in your body? It can show up as like fidget. You feel fidgety. You feel like it's jumpy, really. It's the jumpiness from inside. Like you feel jumpy from inside and out. Sometimes you can even feel a shake. You can feel tension. You can feel your shoulders tightening up, your back rounding up. Sometimes you feel like bugs are crawling all over your skin, and it feels really weird. Sometimes you feel like you got an external and internal chill, like it's cold both outside and inside, and you feel like shivering. So these are symptoms of out of balance energy. So what is the solution? Do something with me. Take a deep breath. So what happens when you take a deep breath? What it does is, that is like, the deep breath is nature's balancer, ultimate balancer. The deep breath is nature's ultimate form of balance. And it is the solution to a lot of unsettledness. But you're like, I've heard this 1,000 times. You mean to tell me I can breathe my way out of anxiety, don't think out of it. I could breathe my way out of fear, don't think out of it. You're like, I heard that again. So people are like, man, let me go away from this because I heard this 1,000 times. Breathe, 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 breathe. No, that's just one major shift. When you breathe, you shift your focus from unconscious reactions to a conscious action. From an unconscious maintenance to a conscious, action. So unconscious maintenance is how your heart keeps pumping. Your lungs keep taking in the oxygen. But when you do a conscious, deep breath, you're saying, I need more of this oxygen to settle down my energy because there's an imbalance. So let me bring the ultimate balance in me so I can do that. So when you take a deep breath, you want to use your diaphragm. So let's do that with me, even if you're listening or watching me live. Put your hand on your belly, push your belly in. And to inhale, what you're gonna do is you're going to push your hand out with your belly. So let's do that again. So I'm gonna show you how to easily take a deep breath. So first you put your hand on your belly. You breathe out by squeezing your belly in. If you can listen to me, try to replicate this with your ear. So now to inhale, you're gonna breathe in, push your belly button out, relax your shoulders, and fill your belly with air. Exhale. Inhale. So you're gonna exhale, push your belly button in like a balloon. Like a balloon, you're squeezing all the air out of your lungs. Now to inhale, you're gonna straighten yourself up, fill your lungs with air, push your hand out. Exhale, push your belly in. Inhale, push your hand out with your belly. Push in, exhale. Inhale, push your hand out with your belly. Now, you're saying, I told you, you can't hot iron water, right? Same way you can't get yourself to think out of a problem, you want to breathe and move out of it. So what if you added an arm movement to the breath? So you breathe in, shift your weight towards your toes, breathe in. Breathe out, shift your weight towards your heel, breathe out, raising your arm. Now, if you can't see me as you listen to this in the podcast, go to edtalksdaily.com and you watch the video. So just by taking some time to breathe in, lifting your arms up, shifting your weight towards your toes, breathe out, bringing your arms down, shifting your weight towards your heel, right? I do that long enough, people are not gonna do it with me, people are gonna leave, right? But I recommend you do that with me, right? So once again, this is about a long time. This is a live video as well. So the actual thing that we need to do to transform our anxiety, a lot of times we're not willing to do them, right? Since this is live, I noticed a shift. When I was conceptualizing about the idea of how to get out of anxiety, everybody was on the live. When I started showing how to get out of the anxiety, some people left. I want you to take more focus into the actual how to than the conceptual idea of it. So when you're breathing in, breathe out, what you're doing is you're bringing a relaxation to your parasympathetic nervous system. What's happening is instead of fight or flight, you are activating rest and digest. The issue with us is we're always in fight or flight. We should be in rest and digest. Rest and digest is when your heart rate slows down. And when we're unsettled, we need to get to ourselves in a place where we're not operating out of fight or flight. And fight or flight is this. We feel like we need to do something to survive. And what's causing the lack of survival? We are surviving. We feel like inside of us, there's something missing or something is about to get us. What's causing the fear of not being able to survive? Because you're painting pictures of your demise. That's what's causing it. So those pictures, your brain doesn't know the difference between the images you create from the past and the images that you're seeing in the present. So if your mind keeps going in the past, most of us are living through psychological time. We're living in the past and in the future. If we're not thinking about what happened, thank you, Ben. If you're not thinking about what happened, you're thinking about what might happen. If you're not thinking about what happened then, You're thinking about what will happen. And this is the issue. And what that's doing is pulling on us. Our energies are being pulled into the present and then back to the future. So think of you like an energy. You are an energy. You're made of matter. You're made of atoms, made of cells. And you are energy, frequency, and vibrations. If you spread your energy too far into the future, you're robbing the present. If you spread your energy too far in the past, you're robbing the present. So the best way to stay here presently is to not give focus to what may happen or what was happening, and give focusing to how you're happening. Somebody asked me, well, how do I give more focus to how I'm happening? Instead of thinking your way into the past, be in the present. Somebody says, I heard that 1,000 times. Stop telling me that. How do you do it? My secret is I do stuff that doesn't matter what result I get out of it, but the doing of it keeps me present. Like, you see my backyard? I take a rake, I start raking the floor. I'm focusing on the raking. I'm like, just doing that, all of a sudden, there's a difference. I want you to try this. Go out and I want you to look at the bees. Look how they fly from they pollinate a flower, fly to the next flower, pollinate a flower. It's so cool. Just stare at them for a little bit and see what happens. Do you still stay in your head? Well, somebody says, well, can I do that with Netflix? Nah, not Netflix. Don't go and watch a nature movie on Netflix, because that's the other polar end of what we normally do because of our stress. What do I mean by that? Normally, instead of doing an activity presently, we allow somebody else to then take over our experiencing. Instead of experiencing it, you say, okay, fine. I don't want to watch the mental movie in my head, so I'm going to watch another movie. Stop taking the advice, start taking your higher self advice. And that's an easy way to remember. Instead of going for that food, or going for that remote, or going for that call that you up text, I want you to go in and say, hey, ask yourself a better question. What is causing this ease and this unease in my body? And how can I focus my energies on something to bring me back present? So if you're full of a lot of anxiety and stress, I'd recommend this. Find yourself activities that you do for the activity itself, not activities you do for the thing you get from it. And pay extreme focus too. Even your work can become meditative if you get yourself in the flow state. With enough focus in what you're doing, you can get your mind out of thinking in the future and in the past and into the present activity. This is a secret. So even this, if you're walking to the grocery store, don't walk there and think about what you're gonna pick up when you get in there. Walk there and look at what's happening around you. Like, listen to the birds, right? Watch that person walking and watch the way that they're walking. Notice how your toes is stepping on the ground. Notice, pay extreme focus to every activity as if you're doing it for the first time. Be super curious like a kid. I want you to just try this today. Like, don't be like, man, I like this episode, right? Try it. Add more presence to your action by really focusing on it and not thinking about it. When you're taking a shower this rising, really think about the soap scraping on your hand and just like feel it brushing off the dirt. You're gonna feel a different presence. You're gonna get touch with you. You're gonna be like, yo, I'm just washing my hand and it feels like I'm just blissed out. I'm just like, really, you're brushing your teeth. Really feel the brush. You're like, okay, that's cool. I conceptualized that idea, but does that really work? It does work, my friend. How so? When you bring your presence, you're giving yourself a present. You're taking yourself out of unease and into ease. You're taking yourself out of unsettledness into settled energy. But what if you're too stimulated? A reason why you might feel fidgety is not because there's something wrong with you, but because you took too much stimulants and you're not noticing that you're doing it. Here's what it is. Sugar, caffeine, like any unhealthy foods in addition to those, or too much food, causes a slug. It causes you to get slugged up. It causes a fog. So what do you do about that? You gotta watch what you're eating. Watch if you're having too much sugar, because that might be causing the unsettledness of energy. Because guess what happens? When you drink an energy drink, why you think the energy drink is what's giving you the energy? The energy drink sparks different signals to your organs to say, send me some energy. So the energy drink doesn't give you energy. The energy drink drains your energy from the vital energy from your organs for temporary use, and then boom, it drops. So rather than getting energy from an energy drink or caffeine or sugar, you get it from a natural source, or you get it from your breath. You get it from grounding. That's the best way. So somebody says, what are some alternatives to Red Bull? Oolong tea. What are some alternatives to sugar drinks? Vegetable juice, fruit juices. You get the difference? So you're like, okay, then vegetables and fruits also have sugar. Well, guess what? It is adding vital energy, and it's not draining vital energy from your organs. So what I mean, you take an apple, it has an ingredient in it to make you more alert, right? You drink some beet juice, it has an ingredient in it to clear your body. So by taking forth the natural way, you are not draining vital energy from your organs, but you're adding more to you. You catch my drift? You catch my drift? So what really happens to us is this. We are pulled by the past and the future, and in the present, we're pulled aside by vice decisions. Here's the thing. We either stay stuck in our head, or then we make decisions daily trying to get us out of our head, but it gets us more in our head. Let me get you an example. Imagine you try to get out of your head and you go into the fridge. Then you eat something. And then now you feel bad about yourself. Now you're back in your head. Because now you're like, dang, I did it again. Or you feel a certain way. Do you ever notice that your energy go down when you eat too much? They found out that eating less gives you more vital energy, and it helps you live longer. Scientists figured out, y'all, if you eat 30% less, you're gonna live longer. In fact, if you eat 30% less, you're gonna have more energy. If you eat 30% less, you're going to reduce the amount of oxidation that happens in your body. And that's just a 2-cent word for the oxidation, is because the oven of your digestive system has to burn up the food that's fuel, and the burn up causes exhaust. The exhaust is like smoke. So sometimes you could feel like your body and mind is in smoke. You feel foggy. That's because there's too much exhaust, too much food having to be digested, that you don't even have enough time to rest. You're doing so much digest. So when we don't have enough time to rest, when we're doing so much digest, there's a lot of oxidation happening in the body, and oxidation causes stress on your organs. This stress perpetuates itself in your life as unsettledness, as unease. So you might be thinking there's something wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you've been making some decisions now that is draining your vital energy. And you're like, how do I make better decisions? Well, stop taking the vice, take the advice of your spirit. Your spirit leads you. Like, man, I shouldn't be doing that. You know that might deplete your energy a little bit. You might have to watch that cup of coffee, because that one cup of coffee might take you to a polar end, give you 30 minutes of hyper energy, and then the rest of the hours you have lack of energy. You're trying to build it back up, so you're draining yourself. So the next part of this is not just breathing so you can get yourself to ease. The next part of this is not just being actively present so you can get yourself into ease. But the third part of this is to be conscious of the choices that you make as it relates to what you're putting into your body and what you're putting into your mind. So what that means is consciousness is the cure-all. Every day, don't live your life on autopilot live your life on being the pilot. Every day, don't live your life on autopilot. Live your life by being the pilot. So drive your own plane. Make the decisions for your own life. Choose to do things that serve you in the form of, is this causing ease or dis-ease to me? What are some things you should be aware of? Sugars. Sugars that are not natural will cause more unsettledness. Media. Consuming too much of the social media as well as media from Netflix can cause dis-ease in your body, unsettled energy. So sometimes you might feel like I need to do something, and you go and you watch Netflix, you come out, you're drained. You say I need to do something, you go on social media, you start scrolling, you come back out, you're drained. What if you felt like that? Instead of opening Netflix, opening social media, having that food, you said, hey, I'm gonna go outside right quick. I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna breathe, and somebody says, that's too boring. You know what? I'm gonna go outside right quick, I'm gonna dance around. You said, somebody says, what's that? You said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get me a puzzle, I'm gonna do this puzzle. If we stop giving our power away for somebody else to entertain us, then what we can do is we can entertain ourselves. And that's what really sprouts the joy. And that abundance is when you could generate joy from the resources of your internal being. You could generate joy from the resources of your internal being, and you really don't need anything outside of you. You just have to learn how to tap in. One of the major ways to generate joy is with breathing and moving exercises. I teach Qigong, which is a form of martial art, internal healing tool. And what it does is you breathe and you move, and it brings a lot of peace to your body. Now, most people don't tap in, right? Most people watch the live, but they never come to the class I have on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Click the link in my bio, right? Check out the Qigong class. Most people say, what is that? But listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I can talk about what to do, but if you showed up and did it with me, you would know how to do it, and you'd be doing it. Instead of going outside and say, what do I gotta do? Sit down and try to quiet my mind? That never works for me. I can show you how to move and breathe so you can do that. And you're gonna experience the present moment in a way like you never did before. So, check it out, y'all. This information works if you work it. I'm an inspiration, and I'm here for y'all. Right now, I serve the few. One day, I'll serve the many. Most people don't hit me up about the value I offer now, and maybe 5 years from now, they probably do. So what I want to invite you to do now is to take advantage of the different resources I have set out. I got classes on breathing meditation, guided meditation. I have a Rising Prime session every day at 7 a.m., just finished it. And what we do as a tribe, as a collective, is this, simply. Get up on Zoom, we did it this Rising, and this month is focused on healing. Like I said, those who have ears, let them hear. What we did was we started with a book, The Power of Now. We've been reading The Power of Now. And by reading The Power of Now, it really tells you how. And it really gets your mind to understand what it means to be present. And then we talked about what happened during the weekend. And then thereon, we did some Qigong exercises, some self-massage. And that released a lot of tension. And then afterwards, we read the book and we talked about it. We talked about chapter 4 of the book, The Power of Now. And then we did some powerful affirmations and we left. And now I'm doing this podcast. By the time you leave these Rising Prime sessions, you're gonna feel so amazing. And that's how the healing happens. The healing happens in the daily steps you take every day, right? And what you show up for. Like when you show up and say, I'm gonna cultivate my energy, I'm going to bring balance to my body, you are literally just doing that. You're bringing more balance. So somebody says, okay, I have a lot of anxiety, I have a lot of stress, I feel a lot of tension, I'm starting to have autoimmune disease, my ovaries are out of balance, my hormones are out of balance, there's so much going on with me. I'm gaining a little bit of weight, I'm having brain fog, I have a lack of energy, my routines are off, sometimes I find myself experiencing grief. I can teach you some exercises to help with that, but you have to tap into that. So with that being said, y'all, I totally invite you to join me for Rise and Prime. Once again, the link is in my bio if you're watching on Instagram, or right below in the description if you're listening to the podcast. Just go to Rise and Prime, right? And it's on Eventbrite, riseandprime.eventbrite.com, or riseandpri.me. So y'all check out that, because that's the best way to get yourself in the present, get yourself back at peace. And that is my message, right? Like I said, I gave you a little bit of the concepts. However, you have to tap in and do the work, learn how to breathe so you can heal. So this is my message, and I'm sticking to it. So once again, thank you all for joining to this other session of Ed Talks Daily. Stay blessed, stay in your power, stay motivated and inspired. I love you all. Every day I try to add as much value as it relates to your personal growth and development. You can subscribe to this podcast by going to edtalksdaily.com. Not only do I have the audio versions, I have notes on these, I have the video and the audio, so you could passively listen to hundreds of episodes by going to edtalksdaily.com, and you'll be able to subscribe. So with that being said, stay in your power, stay motivated, stay inspired, and you could tap into this live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. On Instagram at The Holistic Motivator, and on Facebook, The Holistic Motivator. Remember, you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want, to release your peace, to be at peace, but you gotta believe it, and you gotta get yourself back to the present, and not getting back to the past and forward to the future, because that's what bringing the chaos. Peace. Stay blessed and stay in your power.